Hello dear students, welcome to our YouTube channel Literature Insights, an easy platform to learn English language and literature in English. In this video, we are going to discuss active and passive voice is one of the very prominent grammatical unit from grammar. So let's study active voice and passive voice in English. It is very essential for the learners of English to understand what is active voice and passive voice. Commonly used in many languages of the world, the active voice and passive voice is commonly used in many languages of the world. Types: active and passive voice. There are two major types of voice, active voice and passive voice. So let's see what is active voice and passive voice. In active voice, the subject performs the action. In active voice, we can see the subject is the action doer. Vice versa, in passive voice, the object performs the action as a subject and subject becomes passive in passive voice. So let's see the structure of active voice and passive voice with their appropriate example. Now here you can see the structure of active voice: subject plus verb plus object. Example: Rama writes a letter. So here you can see Rama is the action doer. Then you can see the structure of passive voice: subject, which was an object in earlier active voice, plus to be plus past participle plus by plus object. So this structure is used in a passive voice. So now let's see the example. A letter is written by Rama. So this is the structure of active and passive voice. So it's a very essential for the learners of English to understand the structure of active voice and passive voice. Now here I have given some of the major rules for active voice and passive voice. Number 1, the object of the active sentence changes into subject of the passive sentence. So now here the object of the active voice becomes the subject in the passive voice. Then the appropriate form of verb should be used. So it's very important. The learners of English should be aware the four basic forms of verb: V1, V2, V3 and V4. As per the needs of the sentence or structure, they should use the appropriate form of the verbs. Then the basic tense of the sentence should not be changed. So the learner should take into consideration that the basic tense of the sentence should not be changed in transformation of active voice and passive voice. The subject of the sentence becomes object in passive voice. So in active voice, the subject of the sentence becomes an object in passive voice. So now here we can see in active voice the subject is the action doer, but when the active voice transforms into passive voice, that subject becomes an object as a passive receiver. Subject is the action doer, whereas the subject receives the action in passive voice. So now here you can see subject is the action doer in active voice, whereas the subject receives the action in passive voice. Then meaning of the sentence are not changed. While transforming active voice into passive voice, the learner should take care meaning of the sentence should not be changed. The subject and object of the sentence are interchanged in active voice and passive voice. Sometimes subject of the sentence is omitted from passive voice. The past participle is always used as a main verb with auxiliary verbs. Use of auxiliary verbs. So the learner should well aware about the auxiliary verbs and their appropriate use of auxiliary verbs with main verb. Then now next rule is change in the pronouns. So it is very important how do we change pronouns from active voice to passive voice. So let's see. Now here you can see personal pronouns. So first person singular and second person plural. So it is important the learner should understand which kind of second person plural pronouns is used for first person singular in passive voice. So let's study the table. I change into me, we, us, you, he, him, she, her, it, they, them. So this table is very important or significant for the learners of English to understand the active voice and passive voice. Without this knowledge of personal pronouns, no one can change the active voice into passive voice. So I request all the students, be careful about these personal pronouns, first person singular and second person plural. Change in the form of tenses in English. How do we change the tenses from active voice to passive voice? So now here the student has to study the particular kind of structural formula of each tense that will be helpful them to carry out change the voice in particular tenses. So now here we can see the first tense, simple present tense. So you can see here column, active voice and passive voice. So now here I have given a structure and examples of that voice. So let's study the structure of active voice in simple present tense. Subject plus verb plus object. This is the structure for simple present tense in active voice. And in passive voice, subject plus to be plus past participle plus by plus object. So this is the structural formula for active voice and passive voice in simple present tense. So let's study examples. Ganesh and Varsha play a chess. So now here Ganesh and Varsha is subject, plays verb, chess is object. So now here in passive voice, the object become a subject. So chess is played by Ganesh and Varsha. Then second sentence, they often clean their water tank. Their water tank is often cleaned by them. So this is the examples of active voice and passive voice in simple present tense. So now here the student has very conscious about the structures of active voice and passive voice. Then next tense, present continuous tense. Now here you can see the same columns, active voice and passive voice. In active voice, the structure is subject plus to be, am, is, are plus verb plus ing plus object. So this is the structure for active voice. In passive voice, subject plus to be, am, is, are plus being plus past participle plus by plus object. So let's study the examples. Meghna is writing an essay. So now here Meghna is subject, is to be, writing verb plus ing and essay is an object. Meghna is writing an essay. An essay is being written by Meghna. The next sentence, they are performing religious rites. Religious rites are being performed by them. So these are the examples of active voice and passive voice in present continuous tense. Let's see the third tense, present perfect tense. So now here you can see the structure, subject plus have has plus past participle plus object. Passive voice, subject plus have has plus been plus past participle plus by plus object. So now here you can see the examples. Ganesh and Varsha have played a chess. Chess has been played by Ganesh and Varsha. They have often cleaned their water tank. Their water tank has been often cleaned by them. So this is the examples of active voice and passive voice in present perfect tense. The next tense is simple past tense, which structure we can use in active voice and passive voice. So let's study the structure of active voice and passive voice. So in active voice, subject plus past form of verb or V2 plus object. In passive voice, we have a subject plus to be, was, were plus past participle plus by plus object. So these are the structure of active voice and passive voice. So let's see the examples of active voice and passive voice. Dhyanchand played the game of hockey. The game of hockey was played by Dhyanchand. The teachers called the students for online classes. The students were called by the teachers for online classes. So these are the examples of simple past tense in active voice and passive voice. The next tense is past continuous tense. So now here the structure of the past continuous tense in active voice is subject plus to be, was, were plus verb plus ing plus object. In passive voice, subject plus to be participle, was, were plus being plus past participle plus by plus object. So these are the structures of active voice and passive voice in past continuous tense. So let's see the examples. He was learning a lesson. A lesson was being learned by him. The mother was teaching the child. The child was being taught by the mother. So these are the examples of active voice and passive voice in past continuous tense. Next tense is past perfect tense. In active voice, we have a structure subject plus had plus past participle plus object. In passive voice, we have a structure subject plus had plus been plus past participle plus by plus object. So let's see the examples. Ramesh had won a big prize last year. A big prize had been won by Ramesh last year. So now here in active voice, the subject becomes a passive in passive voice and object becomes active as a subject in passive voice. The next example, they had completed the work. The work had been completed by them. These are the examples of active voice and passive voice in past perfect tense. Next tense is simple future tense. So we can see here structure of active voice and passive voice. Subject plus shall oblique will plus verb plus object. Subject plus shall oblique will plus be plus past participle plus by plus object. So we can see here example. We shall sing a song. A song will be sung by us. The cat will chase the mouse. The mouse will be chased by the cat. These are the examples of active voice and passive voice in simple future tense. Next tense, future continuous tense. Active voice and passive voice. Here we have a structure subject plus shall oblique will plus be plus verb plus ing plus object. In passive voice, we have a structure subject plus shall will plus be plus being plus past participle plus by plus object. So let's see the example. Rakesh will be applying for a job tomorrow. A job will be being applied by Rakesh for tomorrow. They will be often cleaning their water tank. The water tank will be being often cleaned by them. So these are the examples of active voice and passive voice in future continuous tense. The next tense, future perfect tense. So here we have a structure in active voice and passive voice. Subject plus shall oblique will plus have plus past participle of verb plus object. Subject plus shall will plus have plus been plus past participle of the verb plus by plus object. So these are the structures of active voice and passive voice. Let's see the examples of active voice and passive voice. We shall have done the work tomorrow. The work will have been done by us tomorrow. I will have bought a book. A book will have been bought by me. So these are the examples of future perfect tense in active voice and passive voice. In this video, I have defined active voice and passive voice. There are some specific rules for changing active voice into passive voice. How can we identify active voice and passive voice? How do we change first person singular pronoun to second person plural pronoun? So these are some of the major rules I have defined in this video. If you like my videos on active voice and passive voice, if you have any question, queries regarding the active voice and passive voice, so please comment me in my comment box. I will try to answer your
questions and queries. If you haven't subscribed my YouTube channel Literature Insights, so don't forget to like, share and subscribe my YouTube channel Literature Insights. Thank you for watching.